Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Mr. Honcho with 1v1me Pro. Thank you for stopping by our channel today. I really appreciate it. Today we're doing something a little different. I just wanted to kind of bring a new type of content for us here at 1v1me Pro, and I thought that this would be a really good idea. So today we're going to be replacing this stock joystick in a Mayflash F300 with this Sanwa lever. And here, let me give you a nice little peek at it here. This is a standard Street Fighter, what other kind of games you might want to play, 2D side-scrolling fighting games. Lever is a standard. I don't remember its model number, JYFL8 or something like that. However, this is it. If you notice it, if you are familiar with this lever, I've already gone ahead and replaced this back plate to the octagon, from the square one. So that comes stock with this kind of plate. This is like a stick guide for you to hit your corners, left, right, down, up, and all the corners accurately. I like the octagon. It's the 8 side. I'll show you a picture of it. And see, it has 8 notches, 1, 2, 3, for all the corners, so you can accurately do your input commands. I've already changed that out. That's very simple, but I can show you later exactly how to do that. It's a very simple thing with clips. But today, what you're going to need in order to do this, if you own one of these, right? Which, let me just talk about that. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let me just talk about this real quick. This is the Mayflash F300. This is a very cheap, super affordable, entry-level arcade stick. It costs $60 online. And if you're new to arcade sticks, I highly recommend that you try this particular arcade stick. Why? Because if you're not used to using one, you don't have to go out and spend anywhere from $200 something to $400 something on an arcade stick just to find out that it's not really for you. This is $60. It has a universal board in it. You can use it on any console or a PC, you literally any Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC. This thing will work with all of it. With console, you have to use an additional cable, and you're gonna run a USB here out the back into a controller, which is like one con I'd have to say with this particular fight stick, but hey, it works with everything, and it's really not that bad. If you're using a PC or anything like that, you can just straight plug into it, and if you really didn't like that later on, you could just replace the board and have a different board where you don't need to use a controller. All right, well, so let's get into it today. In order to make this upgrade, in order to do this modification, you're going to need some things. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver, okay, a Phillips head screwdriver. If you don't know what Phillips is, that's the 4-point. You're going to, hopefully when you purchased my Sanwa, lever did not come with this cable. I had to buy this separately, and it sucked because that delayed making this video a couple days. But this is a 5-pin, because you notice the side bit has 5 pins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is a 5-pin connector cable. You're going to need this cable, okay? I'm also going to show you today, the Sanwa lever comes stock with these round ball tops, just like kind of this blue one here that was stock. This is a red one. This is what mine came stock with. I personally, through all playing, I think I'm going to switch to a bat top. Now, please excuse this hideous color. I ordered this thing and it said red, and I had thought it wasn't going to be red by the color, but it was the only one that said red. And I wanted like a red acrylic. I didn't want like a, like this kind of red, like just a solid red. That's probably what I should have gone with. But I'm going to show you how to install it today, just for the sake of installing a bat top, or any of these. Actually, they're all like exactly the same for the install. So I'm just going to show you how to go through that today, but not my favorite. Definitely going to send it back and try to get a different one. And for the sake of it, as you can tell, if you're aware, the Mayflash, the F300 comes stock with all of these off-brand buttons. They are dark blue to match the stick here. Pretty standard, not bad. Not a bad button, felt pretty good. I think they're a little light, and some of mine started to squeak. So I took it upon myself. I replaced all of the buttons already with Sanwa parts, and I do have a Sanwa extra button here to show you. But just to say that these were the original buttons that came in this stick, if you're wondering why this looks kind of hodgepodge. So, yeah, so we'll do that. So you have your screwdrivers, your wiring, You're gonna need some tape, any kind of tape really, because we're gonna do some labeling, and you'll see why later when we get into that. You know, your Sanwa joystick and a whole lot of can-do attitude. All right. So I'm just gonna, the first thing we got to do is we're gonna flip this bad boy over. Move my stuff out of the way. I have some foam here that's gonna help me stay elevated because obviously we have a giant joystick and that's not gonna sit properly. So I'm just gonna flip this over real quick. And rest that on the foam like so. In the back end, you will find 6 Phillips style screws. And we're just going to go ahead and take our Phillips style screwdriver and we're going to remove those screws. All right, once you've got all 6 screws removed, then we're going to have to take this back of this bottom plate off, okay? So I've already opened mine like a few times. Mine should come up pretty simple. If it's your first time opening one, it's gonna be kind of stuck in this little groove, but it's just a back plate. There's nothing attached to it. Don't worry if you want to get it off. What I would say is take this flathead screwdriver. I'm gonna show you a little trick. Take this flathead screwdriver and come right up into just below the cable area. There's like a little open groove. See it? A little open notch there. Just take your flathead screwdriver, give it a little twist. That should come nice and loose, just like that. See? Let's pop her open. There we go. Back plate removed. So when you first open up your Mayflash F300, this is what it should look like, except yours, if it's stock, you'll still have all these dark blue buttons here. But these are all of our buttons, okay? This is our USB like out. This is the board. This is where all the functionality of the board comes from. And this is another board area that's got all the other buttons like start button, home button, capture button, you know, things like that. This is our start button up here. And these are, you know, your face buttons. So the first thing, since this is what we're replacing, as you can tell also on the stock one, I also replaced the back plate with the octagon shape. But this is what we are replacing today. If you take a look at it and you notice, we have all these white little cables have been soldered on to all these buttons down here. So I give you a closer look, right? All these white soldered cables. Those are all the inputs for this board here. They all come back to this board and they're all plugged into the board right there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are the directional. The original one it has 4 sets of double cables that come into the board, and on the board itself it says up, you know, down, left, right. So what we're gonna do today, and this is why I have the tape, y'all. All we're gonna have to do is remove these, right? We're just gonna pull them out. In order to pull them out, I would pull them with the use of this flathead and your fingers, and just be very gentle. So we're gonna come down into this area, right? Also, something that you can't really see, and even if I try to blow it up for you, you're not really gonna be able to see, is on the board below each of these inputs. Here, let me try. On the board below each of these inputs, let's get this out of the way, you can't really see it. It says up, please stay. It says up, right there, that little white, it says up, left, down, right. That's how you know which one's which. So we're gonna, as we pull them, I'm just gonna take our tape, make a little flag and mark them, you know, which one they were plugged into. So that way, if we ever have to use this again, or you wanna, you know, sell it or give it to a friend or whatever the case may be, you know where it has to go on this board. So the first one, we're going to take, let me change my settings here too on this camera. It's kind of upsetting me. Wait, where are we? Here we are. Cool. I'm just going to take a screwdriver. Now these cross-up cables are actually all in my way and really annoying. I'm going to start on the left, and the one on the left says up. I'm going to put my screwdriver just underneath the lip, right, of this connector. And with assistance from my fingers, I'm going to pull and pry at the same time. Should come out relatively easy. There you go. Not a lot of force. That one says up, so I'm going to label it. All right, put some tape. And continue down the way. All right, so now I have every single one of these disconnected, and because I have up, left, and right, I obviously know the one that's unmarked is down, so I'm not going to bother marking it, you know, because it is what it is. And all 4 of those have been removed. Now, I'm sorry it's very difficult for you to see because of these other board connects. I'm trying to give you a better view here. It looks like I'm going to have to undo this. And that brings us actually to, we're missing a tool here. So you're going to need something to snip, like a wire snip. If it comes stock and you haven't messed with it, there is a zip tie around all this cabling, and we need to remove that. So I'm going to go grab some snips, and you should take this time and go get some snips. All right, I'm back. I got some scissors. If you look, I'm going to cut this right here, the zip tie that's holding all these wires together. There we go. Now all these are free. Free to get out of our way. Now the only thing holding this, the only thing holding in this, as you can see, are just these 4 screws. So we're going to take our Phillips head screwdriver here, and we're going to go ahead and remove these 4 screws. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's wind back. Before we do that, we have to remove the ball top. Remember this little guy, except it's blue on the other end. If you notice, when you're holding your stick and you spin the ball top, it spins. In order to remove the ball top, we're going to insert our flathead screwdriver into the bottom end here. And just hold it real quick and break it loose. When it's loose, the ball top should come off. And I'm unscrewing it below it. Okay. And what's going to come off is the ball top, the shaft, and the plate, the debris plate. I'll flip it back over for you real quick to show you where that came from. When I took it off, there was the plate was over like that. The shaft was there. And the ball. Shaft goes in there, there you go. And the ball went right on top. And I'm sorry that I just took them off when it was upside down. You couldn't see it. Oh. So back to it, here we are. Now we're going to remove our screws. Okay, once you've removed all 4 screws, you're simply just going to take it by its base and lift it straight out. And if you notice, that's crazy, some crazy sound outside. If you notice, the original joystick that was in here, it looks very similar to our Sanwa joystick as far as the way it looks and the way it's put together. It looks like all the mounting plates and the bracket here is the same, and the screw holes all line up, so this should be a relatively easy install. So remove the original one, and now you're going to take your Sanwa piece and you're going to invert it, and you're going to make sure that these tabs are facing the board or closer to the board rather than doing it something like this. If you do it something like this, then your stick's actually going to be inserted upside down. So we're just going to do it this way. Okay, let me widen back out here. And if you notice, on the 4 mounting holes where we just were, there are these little notches that hold the stick here when we put it in there. Look, they line up perfect and they hold the stick perfectly in place. That way we don't have any offset installs and then all of your input commands are terrible or messed up. So I thought that this is a really neat little feature here, that they kept these little bumps and it just fits so snug. I love it. All right, so before we get to that, then now since we have it sitting here, we're going to put these 4 screws back in. Get our Phillips head here. And when you go in, folks, at the very end, for one, use a hand tool. Do not use any electric tool. This is all plastic. You could very easily break, strip, crack any of this hardware in here, because all this is screwing into plastic. So make sure that you use a hand tool and be very snug, as snug as you can. Beautiful. That's in, nice and snug, really solid. Okay, now we're going to take our 5-pin connector. Okay. And we're going to insert it first on the joystick. So in this particular case, it looks like the buttons are kind of in our way a little bit, so I'm going to give it a spin. There we go. And the side that you want facing up top, right? And I don't know if you can see this very well. You see the 2 plastic tabs there? I'll take something. There are 2 plastic tabs here. They're very difficult to see here on this camera, but see how I'm stopping, I'm hitting these tabs. The other side, there are no tabs. Right? That's the side you want facing up, is the side with no tabs. Now I'm just going to take the other side and we're going to plug it into our board. Now the part of the board that it goes into, just bring it to the board here. There we go. The part of the board, and it's hard for you guys to see because of these crisscross cables here, which is like really kind of annoying, is right below this one. Let me see if I can just pull this out for now. I'm just going to pull this cable out real quick so I can show you, because that's really annoying. Just below, right there. So it's just to the left. It's just to the left of where we took the 4 directional inputs out. These are the 4 directional. Your new cable is going to go right here in the side. And with our new tabs, you'll see that the 2 tabs once again on the top here, those 2 plastic tabs, they're going to go in facing up, or, the only way that this can really go. So let's get that in there. You shouldn't have to force this very hard. Once you get it in there, be very gentle. You just kind of push, and it has a gentle kind of popping sensation. That means that it's in place. And I removed this, so I'm just going to put it back. You don't have to remove this. I just removed it to show you what was going on. Real quick. And cool. As far as like cable management or what you want to do with this cable, you can do whatever. I'm just gonna kind of stuff it under here like this, so it's kind of out of the way. And yeah, bam, that's our new joystick installed. So I know I told you I'd show you a button. I'm going to show you a button real quick. Buttons are very easy. Here, I'll pull out this one for example. This is a Sanwa button. This is a standard Sanwa button. Okay, this is a 30mm Sanwa button. You see right there it says Sanwa. Cool. All right, very simple. These buttons are built in two pieces. They come together like this. You don't have to take this apart purely for the install. What you're going to notice here is on the sides they have these large tabs. It is as simple as pushing these tabs in and removing. So if we look down here, I'm going to pull this black button, right? This black button has those same tabs. See one right there? One right there? Yeah, on either side, this black button. All you have to do is, we're going to remove the tabs here on the cables. So the cables, just pull the silicone sleeves, slide them off. Grab the metal connection, gently grab and just wiggle. They should come off easy. If they don't come off necessarily easy, just keep wiggling. It's like I put mine on pretty hard when I put them on. Just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. All right, I'm back. I went to go get some pliers. You guys might need pliers, I don't know. It looks like mine's pretty tight. But I'm just going to grab onto the base of the connector here and jiggle and pull. Let go, there we go, there's one. And jiggle, pull, there we go, two. Once you remove these little connectors from the base of the button, just gonna look, once again, we see those tabs. You just grab it with your fingers and pinch together. When you pinch them, give it a little push, and just like that, the button falls right out. So, go back here, and just to reinstall, we're gonna go back here to the front. I'm going to take this button. There are little grooves in the side of the plastic. Really hard to see here, I'm sorry. But you just want to take this, you're going to stick it back into here, and you're just going to push it in. It'll click on both sides. When it's in there, nice, button's in. Flip it around, and when you come back to this back side, and we're going to put these back on the pins here. Back on the pins on the back of the button. It does not matter which one goes on which. You just need contact. Just slide them on nice and carefully. Don't push too hard. If it takes a lot of force, give it a gentle jiggle. You just got to slip by. You don't want to break these tabs or anything. I've never broken one, but you know, it's the first time for everything. Like even just taking these off today, you know, as you saw, that was pretty difficult. So. Slip the little silicone things back over the top. And there you have it. That's done. So all we got to do from here now, guys, is just put that back plate back on with our 6 screws. And oh wait, actually, before we get into it, I'm going to put my bat top. So now normally, you know, we have to put this guy back together. It originally came with this little blue ball, right? I'm going to widen this out. This came originally with this blue ball. I'm changing it out for this bat top. Actually, you know what? I don't. I really want to use a bat top, but this thing is so ugly. I don't think I can use this thing. I'm just going to use the ball today. I'm going to send this back, but I'm eventually going to get a bat top. I want a bat top because I have big hands, and so this feels really good. When you get this little ball in here and it's very low, that just doesn't work well for me. I'm trying to get some more comfort. I want to keep my hands sideways like this, and this ball rests pretty low in my hand, whereas this bat top comes up nice and tall. And that's something that's why I want to use this bat top. But it's so hideous, I can't do this to my board. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use the red ball that it came with. And I have some little extenders here that maybe I'll use to give me that leg up. It looks just like the top of the stick, except it's like a little piece. It's got male and female threads. I'm just gonna put it on there. Maybe this will help in the meantime. Maybe I'll even like this better, who knows. But we have the, talking about a little extension here. We have our sleeve and the little crust guard. I'm gonna put that guard on, the sleeve in. It's down in there, right? Now we're gonna flip it on its side, right? I'm gonna begin to thread this ball on. And now when we're at the bottom, if you notice as you spin it, it just spins and spins. That's where the flat head comes back into play. I'm gonna hold this with this end. I'm gonna look on the back here, and on the bottom of the joystick lever is that flathead bit. I'm going to stick the flathead in there and just give the ball a turn until it's nice and tight. Cool. And there you go. Now that's how the joystick gets on. Man, that feels really nice, the Sanwa. Very snappy, much more firm. I like it. All right, so now we're gonna put it back together. Flip it over. And you just have to love, by the way, the Mayflash F300. Though it is the cheapest of the Mayflash series and it is an entry stick, you know, it's $60, but this base it comes in is very thick. It's very deep. You can, this board is, I mean, like, you know, this stick is very easy to customize because of the depth of this and the amount of space we have and everything like that. That's why this is a great first stick. It's not just because of its price and you don't have to spend too much. That's a perk as well. But it's actually the fact that you can customize this thing almost however you want. You can put any kind of, I've even seen plenty of videos online of people putting all kinds of joystick levers that fit right here perfectly. And make it so. And there's a lot of space here if you ever want to change your board and maybe put like a Brooks board or like a UFB, some other kind of UFB in here. It's great, man. There's a lot of space. This is easy. It's obviously not as nice as something that has like, you know, like the convertible top, or what's it called, like the hood top with the little I don't know what the hell to call them. So yeah, so we're just gonna take this plate right here and we're gonna slap it back on. And there you have it. Man, that feels really nice. Very. Oh yeah. Let's see if it works. And here we are in Dragon Ball FighterZ with our new stick installed in the Mayflash 300, and we're gonna do a little test. Hey. Check that out. So the input delay right now from my stick to the computer is just purely because I have this ran through like a little USB dongle because of the camera I'm using is also using USB. So this thing is sharing, you know, bandwidth with something else. But if I plug it straight into a USB 3.0, it runs great. Here, let's get it. Voila. Cool. Works. I'm happy. So yeah, guys, that was that. Thanks for stopping by the channel. You know, thanks for checking this out. Really appreciate it. This is our first DIY gear tech thing. I can't really call it a review. It's kind of like a review. It's kind of like a DIY thing. So yeah, I mean, we're thinking about doing more of these. But yeah, thanks for coming out. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace.